Let's understand if function. If function is one of the most popular Excel functions. It allows you to make logical comparison between a value and what you expect. In its simplest form, if function says, if something is true, then do something or do something else. So if statement can have two results. The first result is if it is your comparison is true, and the second if your comparison is false. Let's understand if function once again. The if function can perform a logical test and return a one value for a true result and another value for a false result. For example, if pass score was above 70, in that case it will be is equal to if A1 more than 70, that is true, it will be pass, otherwise it will be fail, which is a false result. More than one condition can be tested by nested if function. If function can be combined with logical function like AND and OR. We'll be looking into nested if functions as well, and also AND and OR operators along with if function. So the purpose of if function is to test a specific condition. It returns the value you supply for a true or false. Let's understand if function syntax step by step. So if logical test, which is the first condition, and it's a compulsory argument. Then if value is true, otherwise value is false. So let's take an example of buying fruits in the market. Suppose we are going in the market to buy apple. So first we'll test whether apple is ripe. If it is ripe, that is, if the condition is true, then we'll buy it. Otherwise we don't buy it. That is false. Let's see the same example of buying apple with a chart. So if apple is ripe, if that is true, that is apple is ripe, we're gonna buy it. But if it is not ripe, when the condition is false, we're not gonna buy it. Let's understand if function with an Excel demo. Let's understand if function with this simple example. So in cell C10, I'll be writing if activity is equal to yes, I want 1, otherwise I want 2. I press enter. I get 1. Why? Because the activity is yes. Let's take an inverse example. If the code is equal to 2, I want yes, otherwise I want no. So I got yes. Why? Because activity code is 2. So if the activity code was other than 2, here we'll get something else than yes. In that case it will be no. So if I press 1 here or 3 here or 0 here, I'll get no. But if I press 2 here, I get 2, I'll get yes. Similarly here, if I just type no or yes or yeah, I'll get 2. Only yes will give me the one value. As you can see in this particular box, this text is quite important, and if you know this, you can use if function more effectively. So if function can be used to evaluate both text and values. It can also be used to evaluate errors. You're not limited to only checking if one thing is equal to another and returning a result. You can also use mathematical operators and perform additional calculation depending on your criteria. You can also nested multiple if functions together in order to perform a multiple comparison. Note, if you're going to use text in formulas, you need to wrap the text into the quotes. So in this example, I wrap the text in quote like yes and no. And similarly here, while giving condition of yes, I could wrap it up in quotations like this. The only exception to this is to using true or false itself, which is Excel automatically understands. Now let's do some mathematical operation in condition itself, also in the result value. So in this scenario, we have expenditure for these various scenarios, budget and actual. So we want to know the status whether this expenditure actual are within the budget or not. So if actual is more than budget, that is actual spend is more than budget, we want over budget, otherwise we want within budget. Press enter. So in this first case 750 is less than the budget, so it is within the budget. Let's drag the formula down. In the second case the actual spending is more than the budget. In third case the actual spending is less than the budget, so it's within the budget. And in fourth case the spending has exceeded budget, so it is over the budget. And the last case spending is less than the budget, so it's within the budget. Now let's use this tax which we derive in to figure out how much actual spending is less than the budget. So basically in this first case we want to know 50 if this particular tax stays within the budget. So let's try to write that if statement. So if cell D19 is equal to within budget, I want a calculation now which is budget minus actual, or I want 0. I press enter. I get 50, which is the difference between budget and actual. Let's drag it down. So in this case tax is not equal to within budget, so that is it's over budget. It is other than within budget, but in our case it is always over budget if it is not the within the budget, so we got 0. Similarly here 0, and here within the budget, so we got the actual savings. So this is how you can use mathematical calculation and tax vice versa, either in the condition itself or in the value with the if function.